Hi, friends. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani along with Jerry Usher, and we're so glad you're joining us for this very quick hour. Our Take Two listeners love to participate in the discussion, and the topics that we pick seem so relevant and let us really explore where we're at and the world around us and take a good, fresh look at the world around us, a new look, a new take on it, and we depend on you, dear listeners. I'm at the Station of the Cross in Buffalo, New York, and so all you Station of the Cross listeners, right now, this is the final day, final hours of your fall appeal, so please give generously. This is when we really have to count on you, and especially during this hour, Take Two hour. I want you to show up strong. That would be the great thing. And Jerry, you are... Okay, alrighty, wait a minute. So I think we have a little bit of technical difficulty with Jerry. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the topic and share with our listeners how you can participate in this wonderful discussion. We titled it, "What do you want on your tombstone?" And Jerry was joking yesterday about it being, not tombstone pizza. We're talking about really what would you like on your tombstone? How do you want to be remembered? How, maybe not even what legacy do you want to leave, but, what kind of life have you lived in our Lord, in service to our Lord, and how do you want that to have left an impact on this world? And here's the thing. It's important, and this, when I say it's relevant, it's important that we explore this and kind of look into it, because this could shape the way we act today. If we really want to be remembered a certain way, then maybe it'll prompt us right here, right now, to do the necessary things to attain that legacy, if you will. So it's it'll be an interesting topic. Jerry came up with it. I loved it. And I think it's worthy of us to really explore it and see where it takes. So, okay, here's how you do it. You got to dial in 1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396. We're still getting Jerry connected, so I'm going to go ahead and set the table, if you will, to make sure that we all know what we're discussing today. We'd like you to weigh in on this and share your take. What do you want on your tombstone? How do you want to be remembered? Maybe some of you, Rich, Jesse, and I were talking about in college, we both did papers on eulogies. We had to write our own eulogies, and we both did that. It was kind of interesting. Rich was sharing that some of the things he wrote way back when ended up manifesting themselves in with his wife that he met, and a lot of the common things that he wanted to have in a wife. It happened, and so it's divine providence. And Rich credited God and said, he's so grateful, and it's interesting. But he did that in college, and I wrote a eulogy in college as well, and I had to do it for a paper. It's very interesting. I wish I could find mine. Rich Jesse, our producer, found his. I don't know where mine is. It's probably in a box somewhere, so who knows. But anyway, lines are filling up rather quickly, so you guys all want to be remembered for something, and that's a good thing. Number to get in on this discussion is 1-800-585-9396. And also, you can also text us. And that's a great way if you're super busy at work and you want to just, or at home, and you want to just pop in a question or comment, and we'll put it into the discussion at the appropriate time. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response, then you put in your name, your comment or question, and we'll just introduce it into the discussion. So that's a great way. And data rates may apply. Okay, I heard some garbling noise. Jerry, are you there?
Hello,
okay.
Debbie, I'm here.
Hi, Jerry. Oh, we're so glad. Welcome to Take Two.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my take is, actually, my take is this. I would ask everybody to pray. As people who have been listening this week know, you're at the Station of the Cross for their fund drive, and I'm at Redeemer Radio. And the reason I couldn't hook up the usual internet connection is they are down and actually off the air right now.
Oh,
so
I
would ask people to, they've got a really huge parish that's in to be on the air this hour, and expected that it was going to raise quite a bit of money for them, but they're not even on the air. So everybody say a prayer for Redeemer Radio, please, that they get this technical problem taken care of. So here I am by phone, Debbie, just like our callers to the program.
Jerry, that is incredible that that's happening, and this is your last day of the pledge drive as well, correct?
It is, yeah, and I think you mentioned earlier this week, Debbie, we don't want to overstate it, but when you're doing good things for God, sometimes the other side can get in there and try to mess things up. So, but God has a plan, and again, with your prayers, dear listeners, I know Redeemer Radio will get back on the air and back to their share-a-thon.
Yeah, Jerry, that's very interesting, and that's what we'll do. All the Take Two listeners, please, let's say a prayer that Redeemer Radio gets up and rolling. It's the last day, the final hours, and it really has to finish strong. It's interesting that's happening to you guys, Jerry, because a similar situation, not technical, but a similar situation where we're kind of running up to a few roadblocks here at the Station of the Cross, same thing. So we really need to purge through it, dear listeners. We're in a culture right now that if we do want to leave a legacy, if we do want written on our tombstones that, we were in faithful service to God and we did everything we can to evangelize and to push forth a strength for Christianity, well, one of the ways to do that is to support your local radio stations, your Catholic radio. So please do that, and please pray that we have successful pledge drives all around the country. But today we're talking about, what do you want on your tombstone? What do you want to leave as to be remembered by on this earth? This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
You all know everything they're saying isn't going to happen because it'd be impossible. That's where we need to pray tonight. Not for just honest politicians, moral politicians, religious politicians, politicians that love God, but politicians who want to serve. That's what's so important, I think, in what we pray. And if the choice is not there, what do you do? I've talked to so many people this last couple of months, and they're all in a quandary. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to vote for. But I want to remind you, to tell you why it's that way. In the Old Testament, one of the chastisements of a people that have left the Lord was bad leaders. One leader was worse than the other. And we have to know, if we want a good leader, or we want good leaders in the future, we, the people, have to pray.
For a guide to Catholic teaching and voting, visit EWTN.com/vote.
Listen to EWTN Radio at any time. On Demand brings your favorite programs, recently broadcasted shows, prayers, and devotionals instantly to you for free. For more, visit EWTNapps.com.
Anna Mitchell.
I had this formative experience during one Sunday Mass in the Easter season in 7th grade. During the Gloria, I remember having this sense of being filled. If you can imagine what it must feel like to be a cup being filled with water, that's how it felt. It started at my feet and it moved up my body. And I've come to believe that that was the Holy Spirit. And I can really trace my zeal for the faith back to that moment.
The Sunrise Morning Show, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Post your intentions on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's website. To get there, just click on the bright yellow J&D logo at take2show.com. Jerry and Debbie personally reply to every prayer intention that's posted. Others will also offer you their prayer support. When there's something important you want prayers for, post it on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's site. Visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo today.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And I am back on the Comrex/internet connection. Thank you, everybody. Your prayers apparently helped out. It looks like Redeemer Radio must be back on the air because their internet is back up, Debbie. So that's good news, isn't it?
It's great news. Praise be to God. That's awesome.
Yep.
We needed you back on. You sounded good on the. You sounded good on. You sounded good on the phone, Jerry. But it's much better on the Comrex. It comes through clearer. So, and we have full phone lines. Just to let you know.
Good.
Yes.
So you've already set up the topic and
We did.
asked people what they want on their tombstone, right?
We did. Not their pizza, like you said. Not the
Right,
pizza,
right.
not extra pepperoni. We said, what do you want to leave as a legacy of the life you've lived in faithful service to God? So, Jerry, do you want to, before we go to Rose in Houston, Texas, would you like to share anything about what you would like to leave? I mean, I know we both share.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I've been reflecting on it. One thing that came to my mind was I have been in places in the world. I remember when I spent a summer in Mexico studying Spanish as a seminarian. There were some, you'd see places where people were buried, and just in humility, they didn't even have their name on the headstone. It just said, please pray for me, or pray for me, a poor sinner, or something like that. And so, but I don't know. I just think if I could be remembered for anything, and I've got a lot of work to do on this, it would be just the well done, good and faithful servant that we all hope to hear when we get to heaven. That's
what I want on mine. Jerry,
Is that what you said?
Yes, I have it written down. No one's going to believe me now. They're going to think I copied. Oh, wow. That's unbelievable that we both have. And we did not plan this, dear listeners. We did not pre-plan it. We did not talk about it. Right, Jerry? We have not. In fact, we haven't even talked this whole week hardly since we've been at the pledge drives other than the show. But isn't that interesting? We both have the same thing. Well done, my good and faithful servant. We can only pray that we hear those words, dear listeners. So, yeah. Wow, how cool is that? Well, I'll remember, whoever goes first, Jerry, let's make a promise now. If you go first, I'll make sure it's on yours. If I go first, you make sure it's on my tombstone, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, okay. Rose in Houston, Texas, listening to EWTN Radio on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Rose. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, Rose.
Hi. It's funny, too. I was driving home, and I heard that on there. And a while back, many years back, my husband was upset with me, and he said, I'm going to put on your tombstone, mother of 100 kids. And I went, wow, that's awesome. And I have 6 children, and now almost 12 grandchildren. But I have taken in 26 young teenagers that were on the street or whatever. So I'm on my way to being that mother of 100 kids. They all call me Mom. And they've taken them to probation or whatever. And it's just something that teens that were pregnant that had no place else to go. And so I'm on my way of being a mother to 100 kids.
Rose,
so
that's incredible.
That I would like to have on my tombstone.
Well, you now said it. You said it globally, Rose. I think we'll all make sure it says on your tombstone, "Mother of 100 children," plus Jerry and Debbie, 102.
Well, anyway, I thank you so much, and I enjoyed listening to the radio so much on EWTN or global. Guadalupe radio here in Houston. But it is just something that even my grandkids are always saying that. They said, "All you ever listen to is that." And I said, "Yeah." So I learn every single day.
Why not? Why not?
And I thank you for your you will get on your tombstone soon, and I'll make sure.
Rose, make sure, because I don't know. I can't depend. I mean, no offense to my family, but I can't depend on my family. Who knows what's going to end up on my tombstone? Please. No, I'm just kidding. If
you go before Marty, it'll be something really beautiful. Because Marty loves
true.
You so much.
That is true. That is true. Yes, so Marty will take care of me. That's right. But there you go. But Rose, you blessed our day.
Have a very blessed day, and please pray for our country. I try my very best. We need so many prayers here.
We are. Yeah, we're definitely praying for that. Thank you, Rose. God bless you. Have a blessed and safe day. And thanks for your generous, loving heart to take in all those kids. Thank you, Rose. 1-800-585-9396. Take two with Jerry and Debbie. Today we're looking at, it's a moment we're all going to come to eventually. You may be advanced in years. Maybe you have a better part of your life ahead of you for all you know. But we're thinking about today what you would like to be remembered for or remembered as. Rose said as a very generous mother. What would you like on your tombstone? If there was an inscription or an image or something, 800-585-9396. And up next is Teresa in Augusta, Kansas, listening to EWTN Radio on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Teresa.
Hi.
So go ahead with your take on this.
Well, I would like a picture that I drew back when The Passion of the Christ came out. I was really touched by the scene of the scourging, and then some books came out that had images of the movie shots in it, and I sat down and drew the scourging picture, and I would like that on my headstone because I've always been into Catholic art, and I just do it on my own, but I just want people to see that image when they see my headstone and just remember what Christ did for us.
Have you communicated? Yeah, it is beautiful. Have you communicated that to your family? Do they know where to get that image?
Oh yeah, I have copies of it, so they would just have to give one to whoever makes the headstone, and then they etch it in. My parents' headstones, we had the Immaculate and the Sacred Heart images etched in, and they turned out beautiful. You have to do it on a black stone, but the picture turned out perfect, and I said, well, that's what I want. I just want that picture because I have the verse that goes along with it, with the, just remembering what he did and what his wounds meant in the scripture verse there too. So I want that on there too. So that's all I want.
Yeah, and Teresa, that one beautiful thing about that is anyone who would come and say pray at your grave site, and we certainly want to do that. We want to remember our loved ones. That could be a teaching moment, very catechetical image for people to see. And Debbie, I know you're real big on catechesis, so I know you'd agree with that.
Absolutely. And I just, I was just kind of thinking about the image, and it's really, it's just it's quite beautiful. But the thing about it is that's interesting. I've never really seen, I'm trying to think if when I go to cemeteries, if I've ever seen an image. Do you know if you've seen an image on a tombstone, Teresa? Because I've seen pictures.
The only ones that I have ever seen were pictures of people, and they were deeply etched.
Yes,
when
you're
they
right.
When they do a artistic etching on a headstone, it's done differently. It's a little bit more expensive, but it is well worth it. My parents' headstones, the pictures just turned out gorgeous. So, I just think it's just a neat way to end your life.
Right. Wow. Well, it's a beautiful image, Teresa. Beautiful. It's interesting how I think there's many times we don't want to face the fact that we are going to eventually all die on this earth. But we somehow we do think about it. It does come up, and we do think about it. And I think it's healthy to talk about it. I don't find this. Do you find this conversation positive? I mean, I find it positive. I'm having beautiful images of. I mean, I think it's a good conversation.
Well,
what do you think?
To, because otherwise you would fall into despair and lose hope.
That's a good point.
Back in 2012, I lost both my parents and my sister within 5 months. And, to keep that from bringing you to the point where you just don't have any hope, you have to look at the positive.
You do. Do we have your family members in our book? Can you give us their first names?
Yes, it's Wayne and Claudine Madison and Cheryl Leslie.
Cheryl. Okay, we've got it. We've got them in our book.
Yeah, we will pray for them, Teresa, as I know you are on a very, very regular basis. So God bless you, Teresa.
Yes.
That was, Debbie, I like that. That's something unique. I hadn't never really thought about putting a graphic image on a headstone or something.
I agree. Same thing. And so thank you for introducing that. And we're sorry for your loss, Teresa, but you have a heart of gold. You can hear it. And we do have to look forward and look up to heaven and keep on the bright side. So we'll do that. And like Jerry said, your family members are in our prayers, Teresa. Thanks for blessing our day by calling in. We appreciate it. Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, we got David next, listening to EWTN Radio on Real Presence Radio in Milwaukee. Hi, David. Welcome to Take Two.
Good morning.
Howdy.
I would ask that whoever has the ability to make my tombstone would place the word confrontational on my tombstone.
Yeah.
The Christ sought to confront pretense. He confronted convention. He confronted even the current messianic misconceptions of the time. There's almost no parable or saying of the Christ that wasn't a confrontation with accepted belief or political belief. He confronted the Pharisees at every turn. He confronted accepted Jewish teaching. He confronted convention when he turned and ate with tax collectors and harlots and those that would be considered nearly pariahs in Jewish society. He confronted the money changers who were using the temple for their own interests. He confronted what had been the messianic thinking of a revolution against Rome when he said, don't worry about Rome. He knew, of course, that those types of governments are passing and have nothing to say or to hold against the kingdom of heaven. And so when he confronts superficiality or falsehood, poor Peter obviously got a lot of that, but not for falsehood, but just for his questions he was confronted. So I would want confrontational because it's the way Christ approached teaching.
Well, David, that's interesting, and I really appreciate your sentiment on this. And what I'm hearing come out of your comments here, and Debbie, you might want to weigh in as well, but you just really have it sounds like a really strong passion and zeal for truth. And of course, Jesus himself is personified. He is truth personified, the way, the truth, and the life. And yes, and one thing that Jesus did not did not tolerate is those who really should know better. The leaders of his time and so forth, acting in ways that were not in keeping with the faith of the times, for example. And I remember it was, I think it was last Sunday's Mass, we had the story of the Pharisee who stands up toward the front and says, "Dear Lord, I'm glad I'm not like everybody else," and I, and kind of focuses on self, whereas the tax collector, the publican, sits way in the back and is very humble and beats his breast and says, "Lord, you have mercy on me." And so, Debbie, I don't know if you've got any comments on David's thought here. David, go ahead.
If you consider how confrontational and how radical his statements were, in a society where showing your relationship with God meant being first and foremost in line at temple ceremonies, he said, go into the furthest, darkest corner of your house when you pray. When showing how well or how much you'd fasted, how much he said, put makeup on your face to look as if you're healthy and fine. Least of all is superficial behavior or attempting to appear to be pious. And he confronted that. One out of every three of his sayings was an attack on hypocrisy and superficiality. And then if you consider how he turned to his closest insiders and had to constantly say to the disciples, you got it wrong. You keep thinking in terms of a kingdom of men and how you're viewed by other men. And this is utterly and wholly irrelevant. The kingdom of heaven is everywhere. You're in it already, but you're caught up in how you're perceived or where answers might come from other men. And this was absolutely radical. This was a new... when they said, what about divorce? And he said, well, Moses only said you could divorce because you were knuckleheads and you didn't understand.
Because of the hardness of your hearts, right. David, we got a break coming here. You can hear the music, and we can hear, like I said, your passion. And we could use a little bit more of Christ-like confrontation of the culture today. That is for sure. Thanks, David. God bless you. Appreciate you calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Barrett in Virginia, you're up next on Take Two, EWTN Radio. Folks, stay with us.
"60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The third commandment, remember to keep holy the Sabbath day. Of all the commandments, it might seem that we would get this one right. After all, it commands us to rest one day. But so often we're off to our own pursuits. God asks us to take one day to stop, reflect, rejoice, spend time with Him and with our family. But so often we're running everywhere else. It's also a day for worship. The book of Leviticus says, 6 days work shall be done, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest and a holy convocation. You shall do no work. It is the Sabbath of the Lord. And the book of Hebrews says that we should not neglect to meet together, as is a habit of some. And so again, we're asked by God to spend time reflecting and worshiping, and likewise spend time with our family. The third commandment, remember to keep holy the Sabbath day.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Bishop Robert Barron talks about the importance of the National Catholic Register.
The register delivers something which is extremely important because you won't get it from the mainstream media, namely the Catholic context and perspective. Sometimes the mainstream media will pretend, they don't have a perspective. They're just giving the news neutrally. Well, no one does that. Everyone's got a perspective. What they often bring is a sort of secularist ideology. The National Catholic Register brings a robustly Catholic take on the world, and that's indispensably important.
For a free 6-issue trial of the National Catholic Register, go to ncregister.com and click on the 6 free issue banner, or call 800-421-3230 for your 6 free issues. And as you await your first issue, enjoy our online content.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about what do you want on your tombstone? What do you want people to read when you have passed on and you have died? What do you want people to remember you by? And as you were talking, Jerry, to David, I was looking up words that were synonymous to confrontational because I was trying to find other words. I mean, I appreciated David's reasoning and his perspective on Jesus's ministry and how you could use the term, I guess, confrontational or radical. I was trying to look for synonymous words, and none of the other ones seemed really welcoming either. So I guess confrontational is the word. It was just interesting. I learned something about that. But by the way, Jerry, before we took the break, I got a text message, a reminder. So you're in luck, Jerry. The well done, my good and faithful servant can go on your tombstone and not mine. I forgot that my husband and I bought and paid for a mausoleum next to my mom and dad. My mom's still alive. My dad has passed on. My dad has died. And we bought a mausoleum crypt, and we are not allowed to put sayings on our tombstone. So I guess you'll just have to shove a piece of paper in my casket that says, well done.
Okay.
I was reminded, don't even waste your time, Deb. You can't put it on the outside of your crypt. So there you go.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I've learned something today, too.
There you go.
All right. As promised, we're going to go to Barrett next, listening to EWTN Radio on Sirius XM 130. He's in Ashburn, Virginia. Hello, Barrett. We're glad that you called. How are you?
Fine. Thank you, Jerry.
Good.
What I would like on my tombstone, I thought about this as a young kid going to church every Sunday, and it's what we used to say right before we received the Eucharist. Although I'm not worthy, just say the word and I shall be healed. And I thought that was just a wonderful, saying, and I thought that'd be great to put on my tombstone. I know we changed it to enter under my roof, but I like the old one a little bit better, and I know the only way I'm going to get there is through His grace. So as far as what can be known for, I really don't know. You think of yourself as doing this, and then you ask other people, and it wasn't the way you came across. So.
Right. Go ahead, Debbie.
I was just going to say, Barrett, I loved that prayer we used to say as well. In fact, that's still sometimes it pops up in my head all the time during Mass. So I'm right with you on that. There's something about the words of that just I don't know, it hits deep within you, and it sounds like that does that for you as well. So I'm right with you. I love that. I love that prayer. Go ahead, Jerry.
Really. No, I remember it too, and well, thank you, Barrett, for the call. And yeah, even though it has changed liturgically, that certainly wouldn't preclude Barrett from putting it, the old form of the Mass prayer on a headstone like that as well. But his point is just a very, very beautiful one, Debbie. It's the grace of God that saves every one of us, and we need to just rely on that. And, as we talk about this and have this topic today, again, as we posted on the Take2Show.com website, it's not about looking back and having people applaud us and say we built this great legacy or something, but more of how did we give ourselves to Jesus? How did we live a life of service to others and hopefully do it in a humble but yet fruitful way along the way. So thanks, Barrett, for the call. Appreciate that. Deb, you want to take us to our next one?
Yes, Bill is listening to EWTN Radio in Lexington, Kentucky on the app, EWTN app. That's a great way to listen to Take Two, Bill. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
We're glad you're here.
Okay. Ora et labora is what I wanted to put on my tombstone.
Pray and work.
Yeah, the Benedictine motto, right?
The Trappist Monastery of Gethsemane is nearby Lexington, so
I love that.
I like to visit there.
Yeah, well, I was just going to ask that, Bill. If you have a connection, are you, say, a third order or anything, or do you just spend time over there?
They don't have a third order, but they do have a lay group of associates who kind of belong, are in union with the monks at the abbey. So they called lay Cistercians is what we call ourselves.
Right.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Are you going to put it in Latin, or are you going to put, like, pray and work? Way are you going to put it?
I'd like the Ora et labora.
Okay. And
then I was also going to have, if I could, on it, part of Psalm 27, verse 4, where, one thing will I ask of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Ooh, I just got Holy Spirit chills when you said that. I love that. Love that. I'm writing it down. I hope I can borrow it, Bill. My coffin's gonna be heavy.
Or light.
It's going to be expensive, Debbie, is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, let me ask you, this in the Latin, it's ora, O-R-A, et labora, meaning work, prayer and work. What does that mean to you, though? I mean, flesh that out personally, and why something like that would be something you'd want to be remembered for or have on your tombstone.
That's what we should do, that we should put prayer in our life first, and that we should work and, do work, both work for a living and work to do good works.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know, it is awesome.
Another great take, Debbie.
I know, I'm learning something every single time. It's truly amazing. Let me ask just before we let you go, Bill, did you think this was a worthy topic for us to discuss?
I thought so.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting what other people would be interested in putting on theirs.
Right. I know. I agree. That's what's interesting about it, because all of our Take Two listeners they take it to a new level that we never thought of. And where are you going to have these conversations? You certainly can't really have these conversations at cocktail parties. I mean, everybody's always talking superficial things like, how's the weather?
Not like today's topic anyway, right? Yeah, right.
Thanks, Bill. God bless you.
Awesome, Bill. Thanks for the call. Yeah.
Have a beautiful day. Okay, are we up next? We still have wow, look at the calls go. Linda, you are up next, listening to EWTN Radio in Columbus, Ohio on St. Gabriel Radio. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you very much. I wanted to have a quote from a mystic named Julian of Norwich. She lived in England, and she was an anchoress at a church called St. Julian's in a little town called Norwich, which is all still there, and they have tours and everything. And she was a mystic who Jesus appeared to her many times, and she wrote a little book. It's a little thin book, but it's all written down. And what she said was very comforting to me and always will be. And just basically it says, I know you've heard this before, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And it just, through my life, has just been a wonderful thing. And I got the whole thing put on the tombstone because it's not a tombstone. And actually, my husband died 9 years ago, and I thought really hard about what I wanted, and I decided to have a bench instead of a tombstone because all my life, whenever I'm in a cemetery, I don't want to stand. I don't want to lay on the grass. It's snowing, it's raining, it's whatever. And I thought, people need a bench to sit on. So I had a black granite bench made for the tombstone, and it really stands out because it's black granite. And then on the bench, the seat itself, there's a big picture of an angel, and then there's the quote. And it just, to me, I hope many, many people are sitting on my tombstone. And actually, it's mine and my husband's. So he's on one side and I'm on the other, and it takes up 2 plots. And actually, my brother-in-law is there too. So it's kind of like a little family bench, a little living room in the cemetery for people to sit and pray. And I hope that it's helpful to someone else too.
That is
absolutely beautiful. So 3 of you then is what you're saying. 3 of you are going to share this bench, Linda.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And so
No, go ahead.
No, I feel very blessed.
I was just going to say that. Okay. I'm going to let you go, Linda. I'm not going to say another word until you do.
I just feel very blessed that I had that opportunity to. I mean, how many people get to think of that kind of a thing? And my husband, he was sick for 11 years, and he had cancer, and it was very long and arduous. But at the end, it just sort of came to me because I wanted it to be really special, and I think that it is. So I just wanted to share that with people that some people don't ever go to the cemetery to see their loved ones again. You bury them and then you never go. And it brings me back every time to know that I can go and be there with him. And I have these thoughts of people going and resting on that tombstone. Yeah. And it's just a wonderful thought.
And the reason that I asked about the 3 again, you and your husband, and I think you said your brother-in-law, is that fits perfectly with the quote that you're going to use, as you may have already figured this out. Julian of Norwich, the quote, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And when you're all together rejoicing in heaven, Linda, things won't get any better than that. Things will be well, right?
Yes. It's a very positive, uplifting quote that it gives me a lot of comfort, like I said.
That's beautiful. Can I just ask you a quick question? Do we have your family members in our book? Because I have the book open, so I would love to add the first names of your husband. And
his name, no, you don't. His name is Paul. And my brother-in-law's name, his only brother, is Stephen with a PH. So Stephen and Paul and Linda.
And okay, we've got you. We're praying.
So
we
much.
Believe in the power of prayer, Linda. That is beautiful. I love that it's black. Do you say black marble? Black's my favorite color. Black granite. Oh,
yeah,
so it's going to withstand the weather.
It's gorgeous. It's not huge, but it stands out, and people can see it. And I'm hoping people will see it and say, "Oh, let's go sit down over there on that one." That's what it's made for.
Right. I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm trying to visualize it. Very nice. I have to just say real quickly before you go, Linda, I love visiting cemeteries. I know that might sound morbid to some people. I think it's very peaceful, and I have to tell you, I've had the strangest situations happen. I remember vividly walking through the cemetery in Mesa, Arizona. That I live in Gilbert, and Mesa, Arizona is the cemetery is where eventually I'll be buried, and my husband Marty and my dad's there, my mom will be there, and my sisters, and it goes on and on. But I walked the cemetery; it's beautiful grounds, and I remember walking, and I saw the name of a deacon. And I looked, and I saw the name on the tombstone, and I went, "Oh my goodness!" And I knew this deacon way back when we were ministering together. And I stopped, and it was the strangest thing, and I didn't realize he was buried there. And I had this most peaceful feeling come over me of just I happened to just find his tombstone. And it was so beautiful. I think we should get back to that custom where we do go and we place flowers and we visit and we spend time and we respect those who have walked before us. I think it's a beautiful thing. So I'm glad you reminded me of that, Linda. And it's funny because the interesting thing is they do have some benches in this cemetery that I'm talking about. And I've often wondered if you could sit on them. And now you just said, that's the whole reason is to sit there. I didn't know if it was disrespectful or anything.
No, that's what it's there for.
Okay, that's good to know. See,
Awesome.
I learned something. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me share. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for doing so. And we have Aaron coming up next in Colorado Springs. Just want to mention Church Pop. POP. That is a service of EWTN. And you will find them at churchpop.com, and you will find a ton of great information about our faith. Wonderful articles. They're succinct. They're informative. Some are a little lighthearted. They have quizzes there, faith quizzes, lots of great pictures and videos. So it's really, Debbie, as you know, it's just sort of an informational and inspirational site for Catholics to plug into, and you can get their daily emails, which I do, and Debbie, I think you do as well, right?
Oh, I love them, and they come in very early in the morning, so it's one of the first things I read, and I love it. I look forward to it every single day. So yes, I would highly recommend it. Can I just share that Isaac? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Jerry. No. Go ahead. Isaac, I just want to say that this is another one that I love, Jerry. I forgot about this one. Isaac just commented in what he wants on his tombstone, and he's from 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Wow. That's my other one I forgot, Jerry. Maybe I'll take that one. You can have no, I'm just kidding.
Either one would be great. Either one. We're going to find out what Aaron thinks of this topic, as I said, listening to EWTN Radio on the Catholic Radio Network in Colorado Springs. Hi, Aaron. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing well.
Thanks,
Aaron.
It's very interesting that this topic came up today because just yesterday I was thinking about this and had not a full-on vision, but I had a picture in my head. I would like an angel with a long pole stirring a pool of water. And that comes from Thornton Wilder's play, The Angel That Troubled the Waters. And the line that I'd like on there is, in love's service, only the wounded soldiers can serve. And that comes from this play in which this physician is suffering from melancholy and depression. And so he comes to the pool of Bethesda to be healed, and the scripture talks about how the Jews believed an angel would come down and stir the waters, and whoever got in first would be healed. So he gets up to get into the pool, and the angel stops him and says, "This healing is not for you." And he argues back, and the angel says, "This healing is not for you." And he says, "But how can I continue with this pain and this melancholy?" And the angel tells him, and I'm kind of going off the top of my head here, so the quote's not exact, but he says, "Without your hurt, where would your power be?" And he says, the very angels of heaven cannot convince the wretched and blundering children of this earth, as can one human being broken on the wheels of living. In love's service, only the wounded soldiers can serve.
Wow. Aaron, that is absolutely beautiful. And, I don't know if you've caught our shows this week, we have had a couple of topics where we've talked about being able to, yesterday was just kind of being able to look in the mirror and accept ourselves. And, we've talked about, Debbie and I have both, I used the phrase yesterday, I love the wreckage that is me. And one thing that I just have really found out in my own life, and you make, it's such a beautiful point, that when you've been wounded, when you've suffered, when you've been through that fire, I guess, you have, I think, something unique to offer to those, also those who are wounded and really just trying to navigate this valley of tears, as we sometimes call it. And Debbie, I think Aaron's, it's beautiful, this poem that he's quoting from, and this what he would like to have on his tombstone.
I would agree, Aaron, and to hear the emotion in your voice as you were sharing with all of us why you would choose that for your tombstone, I think it fits because you're obviously very, very connected with the words and the image that you want to put on your tombstone, and I'm glad you shared it with us today. And it's important that I think it's important for all of us to share what's really deep inside of us and what is important to us. And it helps all of us to hold each other up and support each other and affirm one another. And it keeps us going. So anything else you wanted to share on that? That was my thoughts as you were speaking.
Well, thanks for your words. I unfortunately have missed most of the shows this week, so thank you for what you guys said there. And it's true. Our pain is meant for a purpose, and we are meant to lift each other's up. And sometimes you can connect with people who are hurting, and sometimes only another person who is hurting and wounded can connect with people. So just carrying this tender heart for people is, I believe, part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sure is. And you're gonna touch so many lives, Aaron, that you won't even know until we get into our eternal reward. So, Aaron, God bless you. Thank you for calling and sharing that. And as he's speaking, I'm just reminded of a couple things that I like to emphasize to people, Deb, and that is one, even Jesus himself ministered or is ministering today in eternal glory through his wounds, through his passion. And how do we know that? Well, I think it was, the second post-resurrection appearance to the apostles behind the locked doors. Jesus walks through. He's obviously resurrected. He's in his glorified body. But what does he tell Thomas, who wasn't there the first time? Probe my wounds, Thomas. Jesus still has his wounds. And then John, I think it's in Revelation 5, if I'm not mistaken, has that vision of heaven where he says, and behold, a lamb looking as though it had been slain. Mm-hmm. So Jesus is resurrected. Yeah, he's glorified, and yet his wounds still show what he suffered, what he went through. And of course, we know that it is by his wounds we are healed. So Aaron brings a great lesson home, I think, Debbie, to all of us.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I think it's important that we do express it and talk about it. That's only how we are able to relate to one another in the deepest times that we're struggling, and we really get real with one another. So thank you, Aaron. Thank you so very much for imparting those beautiful words to us and inspiring us today to, I don't know, really connect. I think that's where I'm walking away from, Jerry, this idea that we really do need to connect with one another. Do you want to share the text message from Brittany, Jerry? That is so awesome. Do you see the text message?
I do, yeah. And by the way, Sabi, I'm sorry if we'll get to you in Bismarck, North Dakota in just a second. People, you can text the show anytime you want. The letters EWTN to 55000. Texas, my name is Brittany. My grandfather, Levinus, put a photo of himself, my grandmother, and Mother Angelica on his tombstone. Mother was one of his favorite people because she had a quirky sense of humor, like him, and she was so wise. It was one of the highlights of his life when he got to meet her. And Brittany finishes by saying, I like to think that he and Mother are listening to this show in heaven today. She says, thanks, EWTN and Mother Angelica. Well, we like to think that she's listening too, Deb, and we certainly pray for her and ask God to bless her in eternity.
That is beautiful. When you said a quirky sense of humor, Brittany, I started giggling, and I would like to think that they are listening to the show today in heaven. That's a beautiful thought and a beautiful image. Thank you for that. Sabi, you are up next, listening in Bismarck, North Dakota on Sirius XM 130. You have it. You have the floor. Take it away.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Fadi, Fadi.
Oh, okay, Sadi.
Yeah, Fadi. That's an Arabic name. It means Redeemer.
Oh, beautiful.
Redeemer. Oh, good. I'm at Redeemer Radio this week, Sadi.
Yeah.
Sadi, that's beautiful.
Sorry, but thank you.
I'm driving through North Dakota right now, but I am Lebanese. I'm from Beirut, Lebanon, and I'm Maronite Catholic. And the one thing that I want on my tombstone is he struggled for peace. And given where I grew up, I grew up in a Civil War country. It's kind of a mission that I like to actually promote peace within, all over wherever I go. And right now I'm on a trip all over the U.S. to visit all the Lebanons in the U.S. There's over 40 of them. and hopefully just to converse with people, talk to people, and have this, cultural exchange and to talk about peace. That's all I want.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What do you think about that, Jerry?
I think
that's
it's
just
fantastic.
beautiful.
Yeah. And
I struggled for peace.
I don't know that there could be anything better that somebody could have done during their life and be remembered for. Boy, how the world needs peace right now. And peace is, I'm sure, Sadi, you realize that peace is not, it doesn't start on the big picture scale. It starts individually. Really, that's my belief on that. And Sadi, I'd like your thoughts. I think we have to have peace. We have to be at peace in our own hearts and at peace with God individually, Sadi, before the world's going to be changed. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, I do. And in that, in addition to that, it always comes to mind the verse from Matthew 26 about love thy enemy, and it's really it's kind of a tough thing to say that one person is my enemy. So I don't want to go there, but it's all about trying to love everyone, whoever they are, wherever they come from. What good am I if I only love the persons that love me back?
Right.
So it's all about loving the people who don't necessarily share your own viewpoint.
That's right. Great point. Yeah, and the irony of that is, even if we didn't share the same viewpoint, if everybody felt that way about others who didn't share their viewpoint, the world would be quite a different place. So, Sadi, if we had a whole lot more people like you, I wish I were a lot more like you, to be honest with you.
Yes, me too.
I certainly have a heart for peace, but you are really taking it to the streets, quite literally. So thank you. Thanks for sharing with us on Take Two.
Thank you, Sadi. Thank you. And the Maronite Catholic rite, I've done a little bit of study on it. Beautiful, beautiful rituals in our faith in the Maronite rite, and I just think it's gorgeous. So, Sadi, thank you for blessing our day. And we have peace today because of all of you, dear listeners. You brought us this beautiful smile on our faces, and thank you. You took the show to the next level, which is what this show is created to do. Jerry?
Yeah, and in 2017, we commemorate, I was going to say celebrate, that's the wrong word, commemorate the 500th anniversary of Martin Luther posting his 99 Theses in protest against the Catholic Church. And on Monday, that's the actual date that he did it, believe it or not, Halloween Day. So we're going to have a guest on and talk about that. Debbie, it's going to be an enlightening program.
I actually did one of my papers in college on Martin Luther, so this is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. But until then, dear listeners, have a beautiful and blessed weekend. We'll see you real soon.